What is going on, guys? It's Dalton Riley here with Boys on the Bench, and I'm glad to be back as I have my top 3 WNBA prize picks for you again today. For full transparency, if you guys tuned into the last time we did the WNBA prize pick slips, you'll notice on Monday we got a full sweep on our slip with Brianna Stewart needing to go over 9.5 rebounds, getting 14 on the day. Sabrina Ionescu needing to go under 6 assists, getting 4 on the day, and Dewana Bonner needing to go over 5 rebounds, getting 8. And Dewana Bonner, I think she hit that within the first half of her game, so that was awesome. So, guys, we got a full sweep. Let's go ahead and get another one today. But before we go ahead and tune in, I want to head on over to my X profile. Guys, just as a reminder, there you will find my username, Dalton_BoysOTB. And as well as always, I'll provide all my picks every single day, even from this episode and in the future. And there, I'll always provide a link for you, take you straight to PrizePicks, and there you can copy the slip, make it your own, and there we go. We're going to get it together. So, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and head on over to PrizePicks and see what we got on the slip for today. So as you can see here, for our first pick today, we have Derika Hamby and Nafisa Collier going under 42.5 points combo. Arike Ogunbowale and Asia Wilson going under 50 points combo. And then Kia Nurse also going under 11.5 points. So guys, we got a full underslip going for us here today. But let's go ahead and take a look at these first two here, Derika Hamby and Nafisa Collier, by heading over to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer tool. So as we'll see here, right here at the top of the board for this Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer tool, we have our first pick, Derika Hamby and Nafisa Collier going under 42.5 points combo with a 53.91% chances of hitting. Now, I really do like this because if you tune in regularly, you'll know we like this number to be closer to 54% or higher, but this is really close to that 54%, which is what we like. So I wanted to dig into this a little more. As you'll see here with these top 3 major sports books, they are currently meeting the same lines that PrizePicks has at 42.5, ranging anywhere from minus 108 to minus 130, with an average of minus 117 here with Daily Grind Fantasy. So again, I like this. So I'll kind of explain why I like it more by looking here at the historical data that we'll get with Outlier. So as we can see here, Derika Hamby's line is currently set at 19.5 points, and in her last 10 games, she has gone under 19.5 points 60% of the time. In fact, looking at her head-to-head matchups versus the Minnesota Lynx, she has not hit this line 100% of the time. Like she has not done, historically, she has done terrible versus the Minnesota Lynx. In fact, what's important to note as well is the Minnesota Lynx defense is phenomenal this season so far, currently ranking 3rd in the WNBA in points allowed. So I don't imagine Derika Hamby getting a whole lot of points getting to the basket. So this is going to really help us out quite a bit when it comes to these points combo. In fact, what's important to know as well is Derika Hamby has failed to exceed 19.5 points in 16 of her last 19 games versus top 5 defenses for points allowed, averaging 10.7 points per game average. So again, like I said, they've got to get to 42.5 total points combo, and she's averaging 10. That's going to leave it for Nafisa Collier. She's going to have to score at least 30, I would imagine. So I just don't see that happening. But let's go ahead and look at Nafisa Collier as well here and see what she's at. So as we can see here right off the bat, the Los Angeles Sparks on the other side of the ball, they are a little bit more forgiving than the Minnesota Lynx, as they currently rank 8th in points allowed in the WNBA. So I imagine Nafisa Collier is going to have a little bit of a better game, or a better opportunity to have a better game than Derika Hamby. However, if we look at her last 5, her current line is set at 22.5, but she has gone under 22.5 80% of the time in her last 5. And if we look at her head-to-head, she has played historically well versus the Sparks, but in her last game, she did go under her line, hitting 22. But like I said, if Derika Hamby hits her current average of 10 right now points, that leaves Nafisa Collier is going to have to make up and score at least 32.5 points, give or take. And I just don't imagine that happening, even considering the fact that the Sparks have been forgiving for the most part. So with that being said, let's go ahead and head back to PrizePicks and see who we have next on the list. So for our next pick, we have Arike Ogunbowale and Asia Wilson going under 50 points. So let's check this out on the optimizer tool on Daily Grind Fantasy. So right underneath them for our second pick on the board, here it is, going under 50 points. We actually have 4 sports books currently covering this line. They are all still set at 50, matching what PrizePicks has, ranging anywhere from minus 109 to minus 121. It looks like these are fairly close in their odds here. So we're seeing some consistency with an average of minus 115, and our percentage of odds to hit being 53.51%, slightly just below our current first pick that we had. Still relatively close to that 54% that we like. So again, I felt like I could get on board with this. So let's go ahead and head over to Outlier and check the historical data on this. So as you'll see here, A'ja Wilson's line is currently set at 26.5 points. She has gone under this line 60% of the time in her last 10 games. However, looking at her last 3 games, she is on a bit of a heater as of recently, averaging about 28.5 points. So it is a little inflated here. She is playing great. And not to mention, the Dallas Wings are currently ranked 10th in the WNBA when it comes to points allowed. So they do give up lots of points. And I'd imagine A'ja Wilson may have a good game here today. However, I think that we may be able to recover here with Arike Ogunbowale. The reason I say that is because looking at her last 10 games, her current line is set at 23.5. She's hitting this about 50% of the time, so she's kind of right there at 23.5. However, what I like to see here is she has not played historically well versus the Las Vegas Aces at all. She has gone under her current line of 23.5 points 86% of the time. She has not historically played well versus them. So that's why I really do like this line. Although A'ja Wilson may have a good game today, I'm gonna predict that Arike Ogunbowale is going to have a very mediocre game at best. So I believe that's going to help us hit this bet for today. Also, not to mention, Arike Ogunbowale has failed to exceed this line of 23.5 points in 11 of her last 14 games at home. So considering this is a home game, she's averaging about 19.3 points per game. Like I said, at best, I'd imagine this is going to be, based on that insight, closer to 19 points, which will help us hit this bet today. So anyways, guys, with that said, let's head on to PrizePicks and let's look at our last pick that we have today, and that is Kia Nurse going under 11.5 points. So again, looking at the optimizer tool that we have here for Daily Grind Fantasy, this was a pick that I really had to dig out, something that I really liked that stuck out to me. So she does come down the line quite a bit here. Kia Nurse going under 11.5 points. We do have 4 sports books on it, averaging with the line currently set at 11.5, matching with one at 10.5. So that gives us that 1 point buffer with this book here at minus 105, with the others averaging anywhere from minus 115 to minus 125 with the line matching. So and we're getting an average of minus 123 from Daily Grind Fantasy. And I know the 51.26% chances of hitting is a lot lower than I like. I'm still liking the lines that we're getting here, and I like her matchup that we're going to get. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, at the historical data for Kia Nurse here in Outlier. So looking here, you will see that Kia Nurse has been playing absolutely lights out this far for the 2024 season, killing and crushing her current line of 11.5 points. Now, I bet you're wondering, why are we taking the under then if she's been playing this good? Well, honestly, with all the sports books currently taking the under on this, they obviously see something that we don't. And to be honest, also looking at Outlier and the historical data that we see, I'm kind of buying into it as well. What's important here, as I always say, is the Minnesota Lynx are currently ranked top 3 in points allowed when it comes to the WNBA. And also, when we look at the insights, we scroll down, Kia Nurse has failed to exceed 11.5 points in 17 of her last 19 games versus top 5 defenses for points allowed, which she's coming out to about a 6 points per game average. That's incredibly low considering what she's getting right now. I do think we're going to see something just south of 12 points tonight versus the Minnesota Lynx. I think this is a very tough defense. I think Kia Nurse is going to struggle increasingly. So I would imagine that we are going to hit this bet pretty easily, considering that this is a very, very tough defense. So anyways, guys, these are our top 3 WNBA prize picks for today's games. As you can tell, most of these picks came straight from Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer Tool as always. And don't forget to leave a like and a comment on this episode to let us know how you feel about these picks and if you're tailing or fading. I'll also copy and paste the slip link from PrizePicks in the comments below, so make sure you guys jump on that as soon as you can. Anyways, let's get another sweep and have a great Wednesday. We'll see you guys tomorrow.